2 days project. Parts have started trickling in. It's amazing. I can't get Moog parts from any of the local parts stores, but I can order it from their website and it shows up the next day. Figure that one out. Got this all apart. The upper control arm, the camber bushing here was wore out. I'm having a tough time finding one. As soon as I get it all tore apart, I'll see what I can do. So I got this side all tore down. And I got this side all tore down. And I'm going to move on to the front end. And I had said that there was clunking in the front end. This is what started this whole project. $115,000. Like I said, about 10 years ago, I put new air suspension on it. Now, you're not going to typically see cracks on the outside. Where the cracks are on the inside. So I'll show you where to look for this. Now, I've got the suspension loaded, but I think you can tell that upper ball joint shot. The boot's long gone. Let's see, where else do we have a problem at over here? Oh, right there. Sway bar link. Boot's long gone. I'm going to go through and I'm replacing all the bushings, upper lower control arm, inner outer tie rod while I'm in here. I'll be 60 next year. I don't drive this car except the car shows. I'll be dead before it needs anything done to it again. That's my thought process. Just do it once and don't worry about it. The first thing I'm going to do is on the front, let's get the brakes out of the way. At least Ford gave you, it would help if I used the right socket, right? At least Ford gave you the room to get a socket on it. And of course, I don't have it on me. I should have it on me. I don't know where the hell it is. It says 13. Oh Jesus, they don't have 13 on the front. They got it on the back, but not the front. It's a 12. Oh, why the hell would you commonize bolts? They'd be cheaper to build the car. I don't understand that. Just saying. That slide's a little sticky right there. It's going to need a little bit of grease on it. Okay. Hey boy. Whew. We getting down there. Oh yeah, we're getting down there. There is new brakes ordered for it. And always have some hanger wire around. Don't let your stuff hang by the hose. It's not good for it. Let's see. What size do we got here? 15. Yeah, I'm going to have way more money just in suspension parts than I paid for this car. I got this car for dirt cheap. The front suspension was leaking on it, and it needed new airbags. And when you pay to have this stuff done, it costs more than it should. And then also, it was leaking transmission fluid everywhere. So the guy thought it needed a transmission rebuilt. I took it into work, put it on the hoist, checked it out, looked at it. The transmission leak was, he had 5 quarts more transmission fluid in it than it called out. he wanted like $5,000 for the car. I told him I'd give him, I think it was like $2,500 for it. He didn't want to do it. And I says, well, yeah, if you don't sell it, the $2,500 offer still stands. By the time I got back to my desk, I bought this thing. Got it home, took out the tranny fluid, stopped leaking, and I got a nice car out of the deal. And then I, of course, went ahead and put the new air suspension on it. If I ever have a chance, get one of these. It stops you from chewing up your cabs. Gas ass stuff there. I'm telling you, this Thor from Onyx Astro, I've been doing this stuff for 40 years, more than that now. I've never used an impact gun as good as this one. This thing doesn't stop for anything. Yeah, I got that nut off. That's going to be a 3-gel puller deal. Let me get the setup and I'll get back to you. Okay, let's see how this works. What I've done is taken a pry bar, stuck it on the studs. I don't want it to interfere with the threads on the spindle, so I'm going to have it at the end of the spindle shaft because I am reusing the knuckle. So let's see how easily this comes off. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Yeah, it's already started, hasn't it? What is going on here? You're kidding me. Wow, I could have farted and blown that thing off of there. That's something. Let me show you what I got going on here. I need to get the speed sensor off. I've already loosened up the bolts in the back here. So I got that out of the way. Now these are notorious for sticking. Got my penetrant on it. What I usually do is I lightly tap and then I grab a screwdriver, I pry it back the other direction. And if it moves, good. And you can see it starting to move. So I'm locking out here. And then I can wiggle it out. These things are notorious for breaking. Now, if I would have got to where this was not coming out, I would have just traced the wire back and unhooked it at the connector and then left it in the knuckle. But since this is coming out okay, I can just remove it. Easier said than done, huh? Well, anyways, it's coming out. I need 2 hands. I'm getting to where this is the least favorite part of the job. Now Ford, again, not thinking, the bolts run that way and the nuts are on the outside of the tower. Now, if they would have had the nuts on the inside here, I could have backed the bolts out and replaced the upper control arm without taking the airbag off. But this was in the 90s and 80s, and there was a lot of marijuana use, coke snorting, and these things called mechanics parties they used to do in the 90s or in Dearborn area there. It explains why there was no logic in what they did here. Now, first thing I'm going to do is get the height sensor out of the way. There's a little tab that you can pull on. I'm going to have to get a screwdriver in here. This is the easy part right here. Pull that tab out of the way and then you can slide this off of here, right? Yeah, maybe. back ones came off a lot easier. Come on, baby. There we go. So that one's off. That one's off. Now I can get the height sensor out of the way. And then since Ford again decided instead of putting the connector right there to snake it through a wire loom and have it up somewhere in the engine compartment, I'm not taking this out. I'm just going to get it out of the way. This is a solenoid that activates the height. And I hate them. I absolutely hate them. You don't want to break these tabs off, so I'm just going to try to get the screwdriver in here for that outer tab. I'm having light problems. And then I'll pull with my finger with that tab and it should come down. Come on. This is undercoated. Well, it's not really undercoated on there because I've had it off already. There we go. That would be off. Let me readjust this light. Oh, it's always something. Okay. Now, I hate doing this part. I absolutely hate it. There's a little clip in here that holds the solenoid on, and it fits into a little channel. All you got to do is pop the one side out, and it clips out. Okay. There's a two-step process here. You're going to turn it clockwise. There's the lock step, then it's going to drop and hold it, let the air out, and then there's another step and you can get the solenoid out. Now, I speak from experience when I tell you, never mess with the solenoid with the tires on the car. It'll send you to the hospital and you'll be in there for a while with them waiting to check for compression damage to your arms. I don't have the tire on. Now, gently grab it and turn it. Every time I do this, my nuts go into my body. Come on, baby. Oh, it's not doing it. Come on. Wow, I hate that. I hate it. Okay. What do I got here? Well, the O-ring looks good, so that's not contributing to the sagging. Now to get these off of here, you push down the hose down, hold it down with a screwdriver, and then you pull it back up. There, let's see if I can get it done. Yeah. It's easier to say than to do it. I'll tell you that right now. There it goes. Push the whole thing down and pull. Well, you can see it's coming off. Camera's in the way. Let me get this off. I'll get back to you. Now you want to think about how you're going to take things off in what order. Since I'm replacing the inner and outer tie rod, I want to break the nut loose before I take it off of the knuckle. That'll save me a bunch of time. Make sure that it's not a left-handed thread. And it looks like it is a left-handed thread. Well, at least that's what it appears to be like. So everything's going to be ass backwards from what you know in life. Oh, come on. Nope. Right-handed thread. Ah, there we go. That was right thread. So now that I got this broke loose, I can go ahead and get onto the outer tie rod. Don't mess around, just grab a pair of dikes. This is not a factory, that's not a factory cotter pin install. So that tells me somebody before me was into this. I try to get the bent parts as straight as I can. And then if you can get it out of the hole just a little bit, like that, and you can come in with the dike slightly, hold on to it, and walk it right out. I haven't seen any easier way to get that out than that. Now this is where we keep our fingers crossed, because most of the time these tie rod ends are bad, and when they're bad, they're going to want to spin when you go to take the nut off. But if you have a kick-ass Onyx Astro, then you might be able to get enough just to spin it right off. Just like that. Now, if I were going to reuse the tie rod, I'm going to show you how I would do it. I'd put the castle nut side down, spin it on to where it's just about level, and tap it now. It wouldn't deform the threads. Now what's happening is it's in there too tight. So stop pounding on this, go get a BFH. This one is so big, somebody painted it red. And you're going to hit on the steering knuckle. It's in a tapered hole. And if you can shock it, it'll deform that hole just enough temporarily to pop this out. That is how you do it. Don't bother with pickle forks. I deformed the end of that just a little bit. That's why I'm dealing with that. There you go. That one's out. The next thing we need to get undone is the sway bar link. And this is where the pickle fork's going to be needed. You're going to want to put pressure on that ball socket before you start to take the nut off. It's corroded in there just a little bit right now. If you try to spin the nut off, it'll break that corrosion loose, and then it'll spin earlier, or easier. So I got some pressure on there, and I'm going to be pulling on it at the same time to put some leverage on it. I like my big fat arm. There we go. It came off without spinning. I'm going to do the same thing to the top nut, and then let's see if we can get this out of here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this out with a impact. That's the easiest way to get these out. If you try any other way, you're just going to be wasting your time. Move that down a little bit for you. Put the nut on so it'll hold it on there. Yeah, right. It's going to hold it on there. There we go. I don't know any easier way to get these links off. There we go. And yeah, that's all gubbered up. All the dirt and stuff in there. And on to the next thing. And now I'm on to getting this knuckle off. I'm going to start up here first. I'm going to show you why in a minute. I know you're the right size. There we go. Don't take it all the way out. That way you won't damage the bolt. This one's giving me some trouble. Really giving me trouble. What we got going on here? That's locked in there pretty tight. What to do, what to do. I don't know if I can break this loose by turning it a little bit. Problem is I'm hitting this damn thing and the shock's being taken up by the bushings. C-clamp with a socket. Let's see if that works. Okay, the socket wasn't gonna work because there was no flat place to put it on here. So, got this in here. If I can get the bolt broke loose, like it just did. Get some more of this orange goodness in here. Get it working back and forth and into there. Then I might be able to pound it out of there. The problem is it's a square hex. And there's a tab to hold it from turning, so I can only turn it a wee little bit at a time. It should come out now. Yep, came out. There's a dog point on the end of this too, so whatever did get mushroomed over is fine. Okay, that bolt's done. Now, the lower one. Ugh, my tools. If you don't have one of these, get one. It's a swivel extension. It's going to allow me to get in here because once again, instead of Ford making a relief for a socket or an extension, same old story. Okay. That's why I took the top one off, is because it was going to hit the top up here. So that was the whole thought process of getting that top bolt out first. There we go. Bottom one is out. I'm going to get a little bit of this in here. I know you're supposed to wait for it, but I'm impatient. Let me get this caliper a little bit more out of the way. And I'm going to do this. Oh boy, it's going to be one of those, huh? Yeah, okay. That's hanging from the hose just for a little bit. You don't see that happening. I'm going to have to stand up for this. Okay, bottom's out. Like I said, don't mess with them pepper forks. I don't know why people do it. Now, I'm only going to use it right here, up here, just because I'm using the tapered end of it, just to spread this. did it. Oh yeah, that ball joint was shot. That's moving all over the place. This being a pain. Okay, I am going to go get a chisel, pound it up in here, get that off, and lift this off of there. Use your imagination. Okay, now that I got the knuckle out of the way, I can get onto the lower. Oh man, it's backfiring going on there. Lower bolt for the strut. I had this off, like I said, 10 years ago. Oh, my knuckle flying. It should come out pretty easy because I usually use anti-seize in everything I do. But it looks like I'm speaking too soon. I'm not sure why this isn't loaded, because I let the air out. This should be coming off of here. Let's go to the big red hammer. Okay. Of course, nothing is easy. And there's a tab on this side. It's limiting how much I can turn this. It might be a simple case of what I had to do earlier. The top knuckle bolt is just get it to break loose a little. And of course, that's in the way. Oh, okay, it's moving. I'm not sure why this isn't coming out then. It should be coming out. It's about the limit of how much I can turn this. It's locking up right there and it's getting a little loose there. Okay, that tab is screwing me up right there. So I'm gonna bend it out of the way a little bit so I can start walking this nut out, or this bolt out. I don't want to damage it too bad because I want to reuse it. Okay, almost. Okay, now I should be able to run that out of there. Size do I have? There's too many tools everywhere. That's what the problem is. It would be nice if they just made everything the same size. Okay. That was working. Okay, I've got somewhat of a load from the strut. I think that's what's causing the problem. There we go. I have a load from that and a small load from the strut. Okay, we're done here. Let's go up top. You know, I need access to the top nut for the strut. Get these little plastic push pins here. If you put too much pressure downward on them while you're turning them, they'll spin and not come out. You only need to get it to come out about that far, and then you can pry these out. What do we got? We got another one holding it somewhere. Oh no, it's just sticking on one of the studs. just had the socket in my hand. It's almost that time of day to where you put everything away because you can't find it because it's spread everywhere. It looks like the AC lines are hooked in. Okay, we got one AC line hooked to it. There's a half moon bracket. That looks like that can only go in one way. Okay, let's get down below. Get this thing out of here. I'll show you what I got going on. I don't know why Ford did what they did. Like I said, it was the 90s and 80s. Oh, I did mention coke and weed. I can speak with a lot of authority, but a lot of drinking went on in Naples, Florida at the test track down there. Lots of drinking. Anyways, not while we were at work, of course. There's the nut for it. So I took the air cleaner box out. I'm going to come in here with an extension and get at it. You can see there's the captive bolt on the inside. There's the nut is right up against the receiver dryer. So that's going to be fun to get at. And then this side, oh my God. Degas bottle's got to come out. It looks like the engine harness is in here. I don't know if I can get at the nut. Nope, engine harness is in a way. And then we got some electronics under there to get at. I'm not going to bother filming this. It's going to be a lot of words that YouTube would demonetize me for. So I'm just going to do this and then get back to you later. Okay. Control arm's still in the way. Listen, I want you to listen to this. That's how I knew that it needed replaced. I got some force on that stabilizer link. Okay, got that out of the way. The bottom part's off. There we go. The airbag is off. I'm gonna go. What do I want to do? What do I want to do next? Let's get that upper control arm off next. Okay, upper one's off. It took 15 minutes to get the one bolt off. Couldn't get the box end or the wrench on it because it was too close to the dryer. So you had to use the open end. Stick it on, turn it, take it off, flip it around, turn it. It was literally 15 minutes of this. And it wasn't as enjoyable as you thought it would be. But it's off. Now onto the lower arm. I need to get this, I don't know whether they call it a stabilizer or whatever, bolt off. But this is the steering bumper. That comes off. Replacing all these. They're starting to split. Enjoy the sound of the compressor running. Ford did another one in here. You can't get a ratchet or a impact in it because it's too close to the bracket pinion. But everything's coming apart pretty good. This car literally sat in a garage on and off for 15 to 20 years. It's never seen any winter, and for a Michigan, that's pretty rare. This car, I'll give you a little history of this car. When Ford first started building the 4.6 4V, look, now I got it trapped in there. Romeo had it built them before, and they were using powdered metal rods, and they were cracked caps. And the procedure to get them off, or to torque the rod, was you pre-torqued it on the crank as the engine was together, and then you loosened it back up, and then you torqued it again. Well, there were several hundred, it may even been more of that, of the very first Mark 8s that were built, to where Romeo torqued it, untorqued it, didn't retorque it. So they had a bunch of Mark 8s blowing up at 80,000 miles. Not 80,000, 80 miles. And one of my first jobs as a tech was to drive these from Wixom to Ann Arbor and back. And if the engine didn't blow up, then it went to the customer. If it did blow up, he got a new engine in it, and this was a management lease vehicle. Now, the person I bought it from was management lease, and back then they had a B lot, and you were able to buy these vehicles back. And he drove it until his lease was up, and then sold it to his dad. And I think his dad lived in Connecticut, and then had a place in Florida. So, like I said, this thing would go back and forth from Connecticut to Florida, and it never saw any snow. And then when his dad sold it, he bought it back because it was in such nice shape and just put it under a car cover. There's some other story to it, but it's my car now. Anyways, let's see if I can get this out. Tapping it with a hammer. And of course, I moved all the tools to the other side. But Ford isn't the only car company that pulls shenanigans like that. They all do. If a new run has problems, they management lease them. Okay, this bolt is on an eccentric cam to do alignments. As you can see, so that when you turn the head of the bolt, it moves the lower control arm in and out. That's the noise I've been hearing. Oh well. You see what's involved. Oh yeah, look at that. That thing's toast. Yeah, it's toast. I'm glad I'm doing this. Alright, I'm gonna get this out. I'm gonna have to do something that puts my head in front of the camera. Well, I am done making a mess for today. I still have a stabilizer link bushing in the front, an inner tie rod on this side, and then the complete other side to do. If I'm not filming it, it'll go quicker. Well, that's it. Done for the day. What the? Looks like my wife has snuck in some NA beer. If she thinks that's going to make my fart smell any less bad, she's mistaken. What do I want now? Yeah, I'll go for green belt. Okay, I'm out of here. Time to wash all this grease off of me.